Hello and welcome again to one of the other videos and lessons with me, Dr. Muafi. I've been teaching English for quite a while now, and today's lesson, let's dive right in. It's about comparison. Well, comparison of what? Comparison of adjectives and comparison of adverbs. Well, let me actually talk about it once and for all and get it solved for you one way or another. What do we mean by comparison? Whether we compare two objects, to people, to trees, to animals, or to houses, to cars, or more than two objects, to people, and the rest of it, So when we are dealing with objects, people, and animals, normally we change the adjective used for that object or person or people to compare them, whether one thing, for example, is faster than the other one or is slower. So nothing is changed about the nouns, all right? Nothing is changed about its nouns, but we change something about its adjectives, the adjective that comes before those nouns, okay? For example, nice, all right? Which is the basic form. But when we get to compare it, for example, compare a person, a camera, a car with another car, another pencil, another marker, or camera, whatever, then we tend to add er or r to the end of this adjective, and we say, for example, this is nicer than that one. This camera is nicer than the other camera, okay? Well, and when we compare more than two cameras, meaning three cameras, three cars, for example, this car is the fastest car on the street, okay? You say something like this, there, you add there to the beginning of the adjective and then est to the end of it, or st to the end of it, depending on whether that adjective ends in e itself, okay? Well, now we talk about also adjectives of more than one syllable. So that's why I somehow separated this first row of adjectives, actually nice, with happy and careful. I wrote it close together, and then I wrote in another separate line or row as beautiful. Beautiful is an adjective of 4 syllables, more than 2 syllables, right? So in order to compare two, for example, people, 2 girls, 2 women, which one is more beautiful than the other one, we use more. We don't add er like nicer, taller, faster, right? We say we add more to the beginning of that adjectives or before that adjectives. Actually, it's not connected like that one. And then for the superlative forms, comparison more than 2 people, objects, or whatever, or even adjectives, we say or we use the most beautiful. For example, Mary is the most beautiful girl in class or in the world, right? Now, let's get back to the adjective of 2 syllables. What happens to the adjective of 2 syllables? Well, this is a general rule. Of course, grammarians and those people like linguists have different opinions about this, but this is somehow a general rule made easy for you. How? Well, if adjectives of 2 syllables end in y, like happy, like crazy, like lazy, these adjectives end in y. We treat them like adjectives of 1 syllable. It's very easy now, right? So we say happier, the happiest. Happier, well, what happens to y? Y changes into I underline it double times, as you can see. So happier. And the happiest also, the same thing applies to y. So y changes into I. But adjectives of more than 2 syllables that don't end in y, don't end in y, like careful, like careless, right? These adjectives, we treat them like adjectives of more than 2 syllables, like 3 syllables and onwards, like beautiful. So we add more before them, more careful. And the most before them, like the most careful in superlative forms, okay? But we have some irregular adjectives, as we call them generally exceptions, like good. You don't obviously have good there in English, right? So good becomes better, right? And the best. You see, the form is kind of different from all of the rules above, okay? Bad becomes worse in comparative forms, and the worst in superlative forms. Many and much, you have heard it a lot. We use more for them. We use more there, right? Actually, it stems from here. So many and much becomes more and the most. Far, either farther, related to distance, or further, which means, well, roughly more. A very polite form of more. The farthest and the furthest. And also we have this one, it's good to know. Little becomes less and the least. Okay? Right. How about comparison of adverbs? Well, it's very easy. It's not like the complicated rules of the adjectives. We just use more for comparative forms of the adverbs. More slowly, for example. More carelessly. And we use the most before them to talk about comparison of more than 2 adverbs, meaning 3 adverbs above and above, right? So that would be the most slowly and the most carelessly. Also, we have some exceptions to this rule because fast is adverb of 1 syllable, right? It's not like 2 syllable like slowly or the other adverbs. Fast and hard are very famous exceptions, basically. Of course, we know that fast and hard could be also adjectives, depending on its previous or their previous verbs, whether they're actually preceded by linking verbs. Well, obviously they become adjectives, and if they are the main verbs, non-linking verbs, well, obviously we're looking at or we're dealing with adverbs. So these are the adverbs we're talking about, okay? So they are treated like they're adjectives, actually. And for the linking verb and non-linking verbs, please watch my other video about the linking verb and non-linking verb, okay? And give me your comments there too, all right? Don't forget that. Well, and we have faster and harder, and the fastest and the hardest. We treat these adverbs, these special adverbs, just like they're adjectives. So if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until another video, stay awesome.